Hello everyone and welcome back to Top of the Box, where some friends have gathered around the table to talk about some board games. My name is Luke, that is Ross.
Hello.
And we're back once again. We're doing some board gamey chit chats. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. So
Yeah.
at the start of this year we were thinking we were going to do some more of this, and then life has just happened and we've gone away with it. But we're looking to do a bit more of it as the second half of the year comes on. We've got a bit more time.
We're warming up into it again.
Yeah. To that end, at the beginning of this year, we set ourselves some challenges when it came to board gaming and the games we wanted to play this year. And as it is now the end of June, bloody hell, where has that year gone?
Indeed.
It's probably a good time to sit back and reflect on where we are with our challenges and whether we think they're reasonable. So I've got my little tablet of knowledge here with literally just a screenshot of the board game
I have
stats out.
my mobile phone.
Yep, that's fine. So we had 4 challenges each, I seem to think. I had 4.
Yes, I had 4 as well. Yes.
Okay. And we might as well start with the one which was shared between the two of us. And also, just as a reminder that we have a video for this, which will be floating around above Ross's head somewhere, because that's where they go. But for some of these were set from Christmas Day, effectively, through to Christmas Eve of this year. Some of them were set from January the 1st through to December 31st. So they were spanning a year. It's just not necessarily going to... There's like a week's difference between some of these.
Yeah, it was just... I think it was because some of them we'd literally played like 2 days before the challenge started, and it seemed silly to...
Ignore those plays.
Ignore that play because it was so close. But...
Yeah, it makes sense. Particularly for a lot of the party games that came up, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. So I think the one that we had, which was shared between the two of us, was our top games of a particular year. So we had sat down, and you may remember that whole run of videos we did, where we talked about our favourite games from 2015, when I started in the hobby, through to 2023, end of last year. So we went through, we picked out 18 games that we had in that ranking that we thought were the top, and we said, we're going to play those
as well.
18 great games. They're all really good, apart from a couple that both of us are like, we have different tastes a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have 18 games, effectively, that we are trying to play through. They'll all be up on the screen at the moment, because editor me is loving this. And we have played half of them. We have played exactly 9.
So and we're halfway through the year. So
halfway through the year, you know what? That was not too bad. We've got that was a
my
January
big
through to December.
concern though is I think we played. The problem is we've played half of them, yes, but we played half of them in the first 3 months of the year, and
we haven't
played any more since of those games anyway.
No, but a part of that I think is because we did things like Hadrian's Wall. We played whilst we were, the night before my wedding. So we've had, I think, the lead up to the first half of the year, we had some time where we were trying to... we had more time to sit down and actually play games.
Yeah.
And I think 2 of mine we played in a game day with Alan, so Architects and Paladins of the West Kingdom. We played all 3 of those at one go. So we made a specific day.
And then we had a game day where we smashed out like 4 or 5 others, right? So
yeah. And I think since then, we just haven't had time to do it. For whatever reason, we just haven't gone, let's make a dedicated day where we're just going to do this.
Yeah.
And I think we've definitely got that coming up. Like we've said, we're going to play some games for my birthday. We'll probably smash out at least 3 of those during that day.
Yeah, I think so.
We've got a day. I've got a half day coming up. You've handed in your notice, so you've got some annual leave to take at the end of that, which is good. And we'll do a day where we'll probably play some of those then as well. So I think, honestly, the 9 games we've got left, it's not going to be too difficult for us to do it.
Yeah, it's not outrageous. Yeah, I mean, we do have On Mars in there, which might take a bit longer.
Yeah.
We have, potentially Twilight Imperium, which obviously would be significant commitment from both of us. I know you're umming and ahhing about whether that actually counts within this.
Well, here's the thing that we've kind of said on this one, because we did do some exceptions, because I think my favourite game of, I think it was 2019, was Final Girl, which... we can't play because it's a solo-only game, so we switched that for Hadrian's Wall, which was your favourite game of that year, so we've then taken your second favourite, so that's kind of worked out. For something like TI4, because we can't play that just the 2 of us, can we? I think it's 3-player minimum, isn't it?
I think it's 3-player minimum, yeah. I mean,
so
we can't... Off my head, but I think it is, yeah.
We can't do that between the 2 of us, so we've got Lisboa set as our second of that one, so if we can't do Twilight Imperium, because we can't get people together, then I guess we'll settle for Lisboa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset about that particularly.
I didn't think you would be. But which plays into one of your other challenges, but we'll come to that in a second.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly just want to get you playing Twilight Imperium like properly, not just...
Yeah, the digital version that I hated.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm trying to think of what else is on that list that we haven't played as of yet. I mean, Lost Ruins of Arnak is one that you don't want to play, but it is going to be played with the expansion, which may make a difference. It's also a much shorter game than some of your ones. So if it's like 45 minutes of, I don't really like this, at least we can follow it up with a 3-hour on Mars.
Again, which is going to link to another challenge, is Undaunted Stalingrad. Because kind of once you play one... I mean, you can play one game, I guess, and just reset it and just get a feel for how it works. But it's a campaign game. So, you know...
Well... I mean, that is one of our other challenges, isn't it? Is campaign games. So we can move rather smoothly into that one. We can talk about our campaign games that we said we were going to do. So I had 5 campaign games that I was going to do at the beginning of the year, which was King's Dilemma, Near and Far, Stuffed Fables. I'll see if I can remember these off the top of my head. I've got 3 of them, and I can't remember what the other ones are. But they'll be up on the screen. That we said we were going to try and do. And as far... Legacy of You was one of them.
Yes.
And I smashed through that campaign pretty quickly. What was the 4th one? I do not remember. So part of that has worked out really well, because we have sat down and we've had a pretty much monthly, if not monthly, bi-weekly game of King's Dilemma that we've been playing for the last 3 months, I think. And
we smash out like at least 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 plays in an evening, right?
So, Pandemic Legacy Season 1, that was what the other one was. Okay. There you go. Yes, we managed to... at least 3 or 4 scenarios get played through. And I think we're probably coming to the end of that in this next coming week. We might find ourselves having wrapped that one up. And I have got a suggestion of what we could do for our next game with that group, because it's a group of 5, and 5 is an awkward player count for these sorts of campaign games, because they're usually up to 4. But I've got a suggestion. We'll worry about that another time. But I've also discovered this year a new campaign game which was not really on my radar. It came into my radar after we filmed that video of Divinus. And Divinus is a tile placement dice rolling game where you're going to be, the storyline of it is the Greek and the Norse gods are fighting against each other, and you are demigods trying to sort of fit this story around. And I have played that so much with Laura. It is ridiculous at home to this. So I did add that into my challenge of campaign games, just because it was sort of fresh. We were both quite excited by it. It's a campaign game that we played. I think I smashed through Legacy of You. I got that one done, because that's solo only, so that was easy enough to just do when I had time.
Behind me.
Somewhere behind you, because I lent it to you. Pandemic Legacy Season 1, I've got playing that with Laura and her sister and her husband, so that's ongoing when we have the time to. Obviously, that's a little bit more tricky because of, time. Just trying to get those campaign games is a bit hard. Near and Far, we both said we were going to try and do.
We did
a Near and Far or Now or Never, I think was the other one, and we just haven't had time to do that really.
Yeah, and I think something like Stalingrad. If we're playing campaign game together, because this is the thing, we both had the same challenge, but not necessarily the same games or the same groups necessarily within that. And where it's both of us playing, because obviously right now King's Dilemma is taking the priority when we get a chance to play through a campaign.
Yes.
When we get to play together, we're prioritising probably other challenges and other games anyway, as well as a whole. So we've not really had a chance to start like Stalingrad or Near and Far, for example, because those are the ones which are kind of sat in limbo with my challenge as well. So I had 5 as well, sort of 6 if you're counting the Near or Far or Now and Never kind of, with a 0.5 maybe we can say. I've not done any Near and Far. I've done... Because, this is an important thing to say as well. It's obviously playing those games, we're playing probably at least 5 plays of those games.
Yes, that was a 5x5.
Which, when you're thinking 5, that's like 25 plays right over the course of the year. But King's Dilemma, we're both smashing that we're almost at the end of that, I think. Stalingrad, not really touched. I played 1 final game with the last campaign I played, so I've only got to do 4 more in a new campaign, I guess, technically. Mythwind was meant to be playing with my other half, but we've kind of just not had an opportunity, really, to play it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one to pick up in the second half of this year. And Ticket to Ride Legacy was the other one, which I definitely have. I think as of even last night, I think we're on the 6th game or something like that. So
yeah,
that one's sorted. So it's Near and Far and Undaunted, really, which are kind of the unknown. So yeah, we need to, and probably again like King's Dilemma, if we get together, we could probably crack through quite a few plays in one go. Something like Undaunted, you tend to move off the same map that you were playing in previously. So once you kind of set the game up, it's quite easy to flow into the next few rounds. So
because that's 2-player only, isn't it?
Yeah,
Undaunted. Yeah, so you and I could easily arrange times to sort of sit down. Maybe we'll just do that as maybe one of the Mondays that we have for campaign groups. We say to that group, actually, we'll say we're not available, and then we'll just meet up and play.
And then we'll just smash through.
Sorry, Dilly, that's up in your tail. And the thing is, for me, I mean, Divinus has sort of substituted in as a floating reserve. I've kind of gone with I want to play 5 campaign games 5 times. I'm not too concerned if I substitute them a little bit. So if we end up playing a campaign of Undaunted instead of Stuffed Fables, right, I'm not going to be too concerned about that, because we started a campaign of Stuffed Fables 2 years ago with your wife, and that we haven't done anything with that since.
No. Yeah.
So we'll worry about that as we come to. But what was one of your other challenges that you had lying around?
Yeah, I mean, you hinted at it earlier. I have a Lacerda challenge, which is just to play all of the Lacerdas. And I've actually, unfortunately, sort of added games to this. I think a little bit. Well, a little bit, because I'm actually doing all right with it. So, of the big, because this is where I've added games, because I've sort of started leaning into some of the smaller box Lacerdas rather than the big box Lacerdas. So you've got your big box Lacerdas, just quick explanation. Like your Unmarses and your Galaris and your Lisboas and a Weather Machine, which is missing from there right now. And then you've got your smaller box ones, which are like the Bot Factory and CO2, and coming up, House of Faldo, which is literally just finished.
Oh, is that a small one? I thought that was a bigger one. I thought that was his big one.
No, it's one of the small. No, it's one of the smaller box ones, which matches similar to like Bot Factory and stuff. So originally the task, really, I had put CO2 in there, but it was kind of dropping in and out of that challenge as it was going. It was focusing on the big box ones, really. But I have backed House of Faldo. I don't think it's going to get delivered this year anyway, so I think I might just make the commitment of it's. And I did pick up, funny, in the competition from Eagle Griffin Games, the Bot Factory. So I'm still maybe a bit tempted, but I think I'm going to focus on the big box stuff. That seems more realistic. That's the stuff that I really want to, because I've got so many of them, and at one point I wanted to collect them all, which is kind of why I set the challenge. Subsequently realised that that's maybe a bit ambitious or probably would never play all of them. So now it's more focus. Okay, play them all, find out which ones I really like, then keep them in as the ones in my collection. That's kind of the purpose of the challenge, I guess. But I'm about halfway through, so I haven't played the Galaris this year. I haven't played Escape Plan at all. I haven't played Lisboa this year. But
we can rectify that one. That's easy enough for us to do.
And On Mars is the other one as well, I think. So, which I haven't played this year. But otherwise, I'm doing okay with it, I think, as a challenge, I mean.
I think we said this earlier. On Mars and Lisboa, I think both of those were in the top games of a year challenge, or at least On Mars was. I think that was 2020, and Lisboa was 2019 substitute. So we could easily do both of those. I feel like you and I sitting down to play. We had this when we played Weather Machine, and you and I are quite familiar with Lacerdas, and we're quite able to pick up Lacerda mechanisms and go, okay, you need to do, because a lot of them are do this to do this to do this to do this, and follow that cycle around.
Yeah, it's like it's 3 core actions, and each of those split into 2 sort of variations on the action, right? That's how.
So you and I are pretty quick at going, okay, this is what this does, and now this is what this does, and this is how these go together to get points. And I think if you and I were to sit down and play On Mars and Lisboa again, we would probably play through them pretty quickly.
I mean, we played through On Mars. When the first time we played it, we unboxed it, we learned it, and we played it. And I think it probably did take like 2.5 hours maybe or something like that, but it wasn't.
It wasn't too bad. It was, with the teach as well, and setup and everything else. So it's not too... I don't think it's too bad. Lisboa, I think you and I... the first time we played that, which was on stream, that took us 4 hours. But that's because that was our first Lacerda, so it was kind of like okay, this is how we need to go.
Yeah.
The second time we played it at the pub, that took us maybe 3 hours because we had someone new playing it.
Yes.
And then I think you and I playing that together would just go, okay, here's how we go. And we probably would knock that out in under 2 hours. Probably.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm confident in us. I think we could do it. But similar to your Lacerda fix that you have gone into, my other collection challenge was to play everything that is to do with Final Girl. At least that I own, right? There's certain elements I haven't picked up yet. Final Girl, solo game of just chucking your dice, seeing what happens, and dealing with those horror tropes. I fell down a rabbit hole, which was surprising. Not surprising. Not surprising for my personality that I fell into a rabbit hole. Surprising that I fell down this particular rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because horror isn't really my genre, and I wasn't sure how I would feel about a solo game. So I wasn't sure how it went, and I just fell in love with it, and I really enjoyed it. I got a lot of stuff for it. It's pretty much everything from season 1 and 2. I've pre-ordered season 3 from the Kickstarter, which is coming through, which will be good when that arrives. That's not turning up until the end of the year.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility, I'd say the end of the year, October-ish, possibly. We'll see what happens, whether that comes through in time. If not, that's a Kickstarter thing. It's not really an issue. So far, of the 20 things I've got listed on here, I've played 9 of the Final Girl, which is not too bad.
Not bad.
And each time I play Final Girl, I set it up and I play maybe three different.
Yeah, I was going to say
altogether.
you've got a lot of more control over that as well, right? Because
it's solo. I can just sit down and just go, I just feel like playing it today. So I haven't played any for a little while because it was kind of I've played a lot of this all at once. I want to try some other things. But also, there's an element of, I know that there's at least 6 things. In fact, 6 things that I can't play yet, and I can't play until the end of the year. So it might be that I do what I need to clear off what the backlog, effectively, of what's to come. And then I can go into the final quarter of the year, smash out those just of an evening, and get on to it. So I think it's fairly doable. And then I can kind of go, okay, I like this scenario, this one, and I don't know whether I'll get rid of anything necessarily, but it might be
you can rank them a little bit, right? You can do...
Yeah, I've got an idea.
In fact, it'd be quite an interesting... I mean, I'm not about to contribute very well to that. It might be quite an interesting video to dive into, like, what the best...
Yeah.
The best of the boxes, right? For Final Girl, what gives you the most value, what the most interesting, what's the most unique, or whatever maybe, right? So,
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're all really good value for money because you could just take your horror trope that you like and just go, I'm going to play this. Like the Santa versus Krampus one that came out this year. That's a pretty fun one. It's brutal, but it's pretty fun. So you can do all sorts of things with it. So yeah, I've been enjoying that one. I just haven't gotten to it recently because I've just played a lot. And there's a lot more to play, as we'll find out with my last challenge. What was your final challenge? Speaking of
my final challenge was physical plays of my favourite games. And favourite games was just games which I would just like ranked quite highly when we did our... I keep referencing. We're doing a great job here of referencing previous videos. When we did our top 100 games, these were games which were literally, I think for me, were 1 through to 4. I think I'd put in there. Yeah. So it was Lisboa, Cartographers, Guild of Merchant Explorers, and Tapestry, and it was physical plays done of those because some of them are on BGA. Or some of them have apps or whatever it is, and you can play them. But
in fact, all apart from Lisboa are on BGA.
I love these games.
Now.
I own them. I want to get them to the table. That was kind of the point. Tapestry, doing incredibly with, actually, to be fair. I've got 4 out of the 5 plays done. So this is 5 plays of each, right?
Yeah.
Guild of Merchant Explorers is probably would be quite easy to do, but it's about finding the right time to do it. Cartographers, I could smash out quite quickly. I just need to literally rope the other half into doing that.
Yeah.
Lisboa, I am terrified of the Lisboa part of this challenge because I haven't played it yet. It helps one play would help contribute to the Lacerda challenge, but I mean, sneaking in 4 plays, even in 6 months, with like all the other games and stuff that we want to play, I mean, I may be a bit off more than I could chew there, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if we have another catch up in like another 6 months at the end of the year.
Yeah.
How well I did on that. There could be a window where I could set it up with yourself or someone where I can play it back to back potentially. So you have a bit more of a warm up, learn the system game. You've got it already set out. You just reset and play again, and then maybe you could get quite a few plays out that way. Or maybe I should start playing some solo.
That might be the way to do it, right? Because I don't know what Lacerda's solo modes are like. I don't know how involved they are.
I think they are, there's a puzzle in them. I think some of them are better than others. I don't know where Lisboa sits in that and how good the solo is for that.
But it's worth giving it a go, especially as now you've got your kitchen in place. You've actually got your office back. So
I've got my office back. I've got my gaming table back. So yes, there's a chance there.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth a try. My final challenge then for sort of wrapping this up is I wanted to play my entire collection. And I did set a caveat on this that it was going to be my collection up to sort of March. Because I knew that I would be going to Aircon, so I'd probably go to the Bring and Buy. I would sell a fair few games. I would probably buy a fair few games from there. And I would rotate the collection a little bit there. So I wanted to try and get that done. Because, you get new games, you're excited to play them, right? I have ended up with 190 different games that are part of this list.
Yes.
There are maybe 3 to 6 other games that are in the collection that are not on this list. And there's a few games that were on the list initially that I've just taken out because I've gone, I don't really want to play this anymore. And I've just gone, I don't want to play this. I don't think I'm going to play this throughout the year. I'm just going to take it out. And I've substituted in other games that have come along recently. Like Divinus was one that I picked up at Aircon. And I was like, okay, fine, that's going to go in. Great, perfect, not a problem. So far, of those 190 games, I've played 124 of them.
You're doing good. I think that's good.
So that is 65%. But there are 66 games left to play in 179 days.
I think you're in the slog bit now because I did this challenge last year and I only had to play 105 games.
Yes.
And I think I was about 9 games short at the end. I think there was 9 games I didn't play. I think of those 9 games, I'm pretty sure I sold at least 6 of the 9 games. So it did help me make that decision, to be fair. But that second part of the year, or that's the last 40 odd games was hard work because they were the awkward. You need to have 3 players. You need to only have 2 players. You need to have the right group. You need to. They're longer games, or they're really, really, really short games, or something like that. So they were awkward ones that never really seemed to fit in. So I don't know how many of the games you've got now fit within that realm, or do you think you'd probably still be okay?
Quite a few. I mean, there was last weekend? Yeah, last weekend I had another game day where we played Freelancers and Olympus. Both of those 3-player plus minimum. Okay. So that's where I just kind of went, okay, I know I've got a game day coming up. I want to play these games and see how they go. Freelancers, fantastic. That is a really fun game that I think will be a really good campaign game. And it kind of leads into that suggestion I was going to make for our campaign. Not necessarily Freelancers, because I'm doing that elsewhere, but the other one is Forgotten Waters, which is in that same system, which might be good fun for us all to do. But Olympus, played it. The last time I played that was January 1st, 2022. Okay. So it just kind of sat on the shelf. And when I got it out, it was a case of, this is a lot of beige, and it's a good Euro game. It just won't get played. I want to make space for other games that I'm going to enjoy. And there's all sorts of things. I've now started, there's a few games that have popped up that I've got expansions or Kickstarter content coming for later in the year. Merchants of Magic is an example of that. Some of that's going to be coming out, I think, in the next couple of months. And I'm going to try not to sneeze. Yeah, so Merchants of Magic, that's going to come out in a couple of months. I want to play with the expansion content that's coming out on that one. Cubitos and Tiny Towns both had some expansion content that came out the last couple of months that I haven't got around to yet with Laura. Dog Park as well is another one that's had some expansion content. I want to play with that. And there's some games that would be easy wins to tick off if playing them on BGA counted. Things like Wingspan, things like Terraforming Mars. But I've got big physical collections of those games. Yeah. I want to play those games physically. It'd be very easy. I could easily be like another 10 plays into this because I played them on BGA. But I don't want to have just played them on BGA. I want to play the actual physical thing, right? And then it's a case of some of the smaller party games, what's the one that's going to be an example? Stay Cool is one that I've not played yet, but that is a party game. And that's probably one that will play around Christmas time. So that might be just squeaking in under the wire.
Yeah.
Maybe. But there's all sorts of things. And I've now taken to, like, if I've got an hour or so, I might play a game solo. I might just set it up in my lunch break and just play a solo, like a roll and write. I played Joan of Arc, the Orleans draw and write. I just set that up and I just played that solo for an hour, which was pretty nice to do. It was just,
nice. Yeah.
I played this.
I think at least 9 of your games, which you probably haven't played yet, will be part of our challenges as well. Anyway, so there's going to be a good chunk of games on the second half of our top favourite games that maybe some of them you have played, but probably a lot of them you haven't. So there's going to be another driving force behind it, I guess, is where I'm going with that. Where I'm going to be like, hey, we want to play this game, we need to get it ticked off. So
yeah, exactly. So Scholars of the South Tigris and Raiders of the North Sea are both on that list.
Yeah.
So I think getting those ticked off would probably make a difference. And I think one of the things that this particular challenge has been good for is I have culled quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like the graphic that will be on the screen at the moment, these are the games that I have played. The ones with the green cross, I've kept in the collection. The ones with the red cross, I've either sold or I've put on the pile for either a maths trade or a future bring and buy. Because as much fun as I may have had with them, I've either gone, I've had enough of this, or it just hasn't worked out for the group that we're playing with. And that happens sometimes, right? It just is what it is.
It does.
So that is where we are with our challenges as of the end of June. So let us know in the comments below how you've been doing with any of the challenges you set yourself for this last year. If there's anything that you think you could pick up on, or any suggestions for how we could make our challenges go a little bit smoother. The main thing for us, I think, is just making time to play. I think that's kind of the big thing. But we're definitely getting to the point, I think, this year, there's more ease for us to just play, because we haven't got any weddings to worry about. We haven't got your toddler, although he's still going to bed.
Less of a toddler, really. Now,
yeah, exactly. He's got a bedtime. He's got a bit of a routine. So actually, it's a little easier to set up a game. He goes to sleep. We get on with our lives, and being able to hang out and do these things is probably a little bit more available to us. So we'll see how it goes. But until then, we will keep you updated on how we're doing. And if you like what you see, don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the sharings, and let people know that you came to see us.
Yeah, get comments in there. I know you said it already, but definitely chat to us about it, because it's fun to engage.
Yeah, if there's any games that you think that we probably should be playing, let us know. We'll keep an eye out for them.
Yeah.
Until next time, thanks everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Cheers.